Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. I'm super excited to be back over at Juniper Level Botanic Garden and Plant Delights Nursery with Tony Avent for our, what is this, will be our fourth video together like here this spring. I was here much earlier and we took a look at the Crevice garden here, and it's come completely to life in the last 40 days or so since I was here.
Yeah, it's really amazing this time of year. We're still not quite past winter. Hopefully tonight will be our last freeze or near freeze. But yeah, everything started to wake up. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it really is. You guys have an open house this weekend?
Not this weekend. It's the last weekend in April, first weekend in May. So I believe it starts the 30th of April. So not this weekend, but the weekend after.
Oh, and it really will be popping by then.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Things are a little slow because of the cool temperatures, but that's actually okay because that way we don't have to cover them when we keep getting low. So it's all good in the gardens.
Right. How many agave did you say you have?
We've got 21 in spike, so those are getting ready to flower, and obviously once they flower, the main rosette dies. So it's a pretty amazing thing. Some will be as tall as 20 to 25 feet in flower. So it'd be really something, if people have never seen one, to see what those look like as they come out and start to spike.
Right, and that's like 10 or 11 days from now, so they'll really be pretty high by then. Because they'll grow how much a day, you think, if it's warm?
Some of them will do 3 to 4 foot a day.
3-4 foot a day.
Oh yeah, it's like watching Jack and the Beanstalk grow.
Right. Well, I'm going to let you walk us through some of the pieces in the this part of the Crevice garden real quick, and then we'll jump to another spot.
Sure. Well, the pink that's flowering all around is a little plant called Ethanema. It's a plant that loves growing in gravelly, rocky soils. And the interesting thing about it, it's in the cabbage family.
Wow.
And you look at that and you think, it doesn't look like a cabbage, but it actually is. And really amazing. It's one of the earliest plants to bloom in spring. It just puts on this incredible show from this basil, not even a rosette, but just this small evergreen foliage, and then just really explodes. And it comes in sort of the mauve to pink color range.
Is it a European?
It is.
Yeah, most brassicas are European.
Yes, correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
And then there's so many phlox in bloom. There's just a tremendous amount. We really focus on a lot of the hybrids with our native Phlox subulata, Phlox nivalis, Phlox bifida, and they're really great ground covers for early spring. So there's some that you can grow in regular garden soil that do fine as long as it's well drained, and there's some that need this special drainage, especially when they start breeding with the West Coast phlox. And right here in front of us is the beautiful claret cup. This is a North American native cactus. This incredible. And it opens even further as the day goes on. But we always judge spring by the flowering of the claret cups. And they're just amazing. Another one that needs really good drainage. So here, these are planted in nothing but pure gravel. There's zero soil in there, and they're happy as clams. So not a plant you want to put if your soil holds moisture, but if you can keep it dry, they're absolutely fantastic.
So the bottom of this area, you have 100% permatil, and then as we move up the hill a little bit, you've blended in a little soil into the permatil.
We do. This middle area is just our regular garden soil, 50% compost, 50% native in that one little space, because we wanted to be able to grow a few things that might not need the crevice, but we did that more as a contrast.
Right. What's the yellow?
The yellow is a wonderful Texas native. That's called Hymenopsis scaposa. And it comes about as close as any plant to bloom in 12 months out of the year. It's just amazing. It's really kicking into full bloom now. It'll still be in full bloom in October, November. It's quite extraordinary as long as you got really good drainage.
Right.
And you'll see a lot of iris in here. These may look a little like bearded iris, but they're not really. These are called aril iris, A-R-I-L. And arils are crosses with the Middle Eastern iris. So there's many species called the Unicyclus iris that are very difficult to grow. And so breeders years ago began crossing them with beardeds to get these amazing colors. And these are completely ungrowable unless you've got them in pure gravel. We've tried them for years in regular garden soil, really well drained regular garden soil, killed 100% of them. But here they're growing in 2 to 3 foot of permatil or similar gravel material, and they're absolutely fantastic. They're more compact. They don't really spread and take over. So most of these are 4-year-old clumps now. Pretty amazing.
Right beside a cactus that's about to start flowering, another one that should be flowering when folks are here.
Yeah, and that really shows you how much drought they love and need that they'll grow right here with cactus. A really neat plant, and just opening up for the morning, are the anacyclus. Anacyclus are really quite incredible, and this is another one that needs near perfect drainage. But I love these. For the back of the flowers before it opens are bright red petals. You don't see many things that have bright red on the back and white on the front. But the contrast, if you can plant these where you can look up in them, is absolutely amazing. This is a plant I think is one of the most exciting new plants to come out in the last decade in the shrub world. This is Calycanthus burgundy spice. So this is a purple leaf selection of our native sweet shrub, or sweet Betsy as many people call them, loaded with flowers. The flowers are purple, the leaves are purple, the purple holds all through the summertime. I mean, what an absolutely amazing form of one of our great natives. One of the great plants of spring, one of our great natives, are the Baptisias. Baptisias are amazing plants. They're native from Canada all the way down to Mexico in the border of the U.S., and breeders have been able to combine the best traits to really create better garden plants. This is yellow towers just coming into bloom now. So probably in another, by the end of April, they'll be in full bloom. Really amazing plants because they will grow right here beside cactus in the dry soil, imagine. They will also grow in standing water as a marginal aquatic. There's almost no plants that will grow in that range of conditions, that differing range of opinions, and do completely great. But what a fantastic plant. And there's so many different colors, from yellows to pinks to purples to now almost reds. It's really a plant I can't imagine not growing if you have bright sunlight. This is Baptisia cherry pie. This is one of our introductions, and we're getting here almost toward red, sort of a rosy color, and this thing is just beginning to open, but this is sort of where breeders wanted to go. We always want the colors we don't have, so we want to get closer to red each time, and this one really emerges with a beautiful, almost a black cast to the entire plant before it opens up this beautiful rosy red. So these are the century plants, and in the wild they were so named because they only flower once every 100 years. Well, in cultivation, we've got a lot more rain, and they're mostly water, so we can typically flower them in 12 to 15 years. This one is only 4 years old. This is one of our hybrids, so we had no track record to know how long, so we were sort of shocked to have it flower after 4 years. Right. But it'll make a spike close to 20 feet, and you can see it's in the asparagus family. So this looks like a giant asparagus coming up, and so this plant lives its entire life to have this giant orgasm one time, and then when it finishes, it falls over dead. Right. So Agave's great sense of humor to create something that would be that spectacular and that amazing in flower and then fall over dead. Yeah. Now, certain ones have offsets. And if it has an offset, so this one does have a couple offsets. I see it down there. So then the offsets will continue to grow. So they actually don't die. It's only the main clump. So it's very similar to a bromeliad, to what people would grow as a house plant. Right.
What's this other South Texas?
Right beside it, this is opuntia. This is Opuntia kleinii. This one from the Big Bend region, and you know, you want to keep deer out of your garden, you want to keep dogs out of your garden, you want to keep trespassers. You plant a hedge of that, I guarantee you will not need a fence. You will have no trespassers, not more than once.
Yeah, amazing. How long has that been in the ground?
This has been in the ground, let's see, this is about 2018, so 4 years.
It's really put on some growth in our climate.
Yeah, again, it's the moisture. Cacti love moisture in the growing season. They hate it during the dormant season. So that's the key. During the summer, you can irrigate a lot of cactus as much as you want, as long as the drainage is good, and they'll grow like crazy.
Right. So lilacs don't grow here, right? We don't have any lilacs in the south.
I've heard that for years. It's sort of like with everything. The more you repeat a myth, the more it becomes fact, even though it has no basis in reality.
Right.
So, yeah, behind us, one of my favorite small trees. This is the Peking lilac, Syringa reticulata pekingensis, just coming into bloom now. So in another couple weeks, this thing will be in full flower. It's beautiful white. It's got great bark, it's got great form, it's got great flowers, and this was planted from a 4-inch pot. So it's now 40-some feet in the ground, in the air.
Right.
So, I mean,
does this one need less cold, chill hours to flower? Do you find it flowers predictably regardless of our winters? Or?
Yeah, we don't find a problem with the winter chill in any of the lilacs that we've tried. I think that's another myth that the lilacs need that. This one is fantastic up in Chicago. So this thing minus 30 degrees is not a problem. And yet down here we have winters, we had 3 winters in a row. We didn't even hit below 20 degrees and it's absolutely fine.
What about with mildew or something like that? Are you?
Never seen a sign of mildew on any
so this, and it's probably up high enough. It's probably
it's just not. We just don't get mildew on the tree lilacs, at least not in North Carolina.
Right, beautiful.
These are some of my favorite deciduous azaleas, and of course we know those as being native to the southeast U.S. But much of the original breeding work was done over in England, and then they sent them back over here to the U.S. and they got them where they wouldn't grow anymore. And so a fellow named Dr. Romey, was a doctor down in the Mobile area of Alabama, decided he was going to create deciduous azalea hybrids that would grow and thrive in Mobile. And not only did they grow and thrive, they're probably the finest deciduous azaleas on the market today, called the Aromi azaleas. So behind me you can see one, it's even past peak. It's pretty darn incredible. So these have been in now probably about 6 years. There's nothing like these on the market today. And they range from yellows to oranges to reds to these beautiful bicolor flowers, the pink with the orange throat. They're just amazing. So if you get a chance, you can find these online. You'll have to look a little bit for them, but there's a lot of names, sort of southern names, some named after people, some named after, sunstruck and things that the color reminds you of, but they're really worth seeking out for the southeast.
So, like you said, the Baptisia up here in the rock garden, and now we come down here to this one.
This one's growing in probably 8 inches of water here with the Japanese water iris, and it's obviously doing just as well as it does out there with the cactus.
Right. Yeah. The other one over here caught my eye, and I was like, "What in the world?" Yeah. So,
yeah. Pretty amazing and pretty adaptable. So these are our pitcher plants. These are southeast natives, primarily southeast natives. There's actually one species that goes all the way up into Canada. The majority of them are southeast. And they're known for their insect catching, which is done by the pitchers. And the pitchers, these are old pitchers from last year. Most of them pretty much die out during the winter. And these are the new pitchers that are just getting started. But before the pitchers come out are the amazing flowers. And these are flowers. These are crazy flowers. They look like something alien. But it's really neat when they finish blooming, they actually have a little tray here that holds the developing seed. So the seed dropped in a tray and wait for you to come out and gather them, which is the only plant that actually gathers its own seed. It's pretty amazing. Now, if you don't gather them, eventually they will fall over. But we love the flowers, and the flowers come in reds, pinks, yellows, whites, oranges, just an amazing array of colors. A lot of people have tried growing pitchers. They're not really good indoor plants. A lot of people try to take them indoors, and if you got a party, great, take it indoors for the party, but get it back outside. They need full baking sun, and they need sun for ideally more than 6 hours. You can grow them in 2 to 6 hours, but they're not thrilled and they won't be as vigorous. The key thing about pitcher plants is they must have damp toes and dry ankles. I know when I first planted them, I killed all mine because I thought they liked bogs, and they don't. They like soil that's wet. During the wintertime, that's great, but their ankles right here, it needs to be dry. So if you're growing them in a container, you want a container that doesn't let the water out, But you want to go in, whatever your soil level is, go in about an inch below that and drill some holes. And that way, when it rains or you irrigate, the water runs out and their toes stay moist, their ankles stay dry. And that's the key to growing pitcher plants.
So Tony, we'll wrap this up with one more plant this morning, but tell them again when your open houses.
The last weekend in April, first weekend in May. So it's that weekend that's the 1st, 2nd of May, and then the following weekend. So 2 weekends in a row, Friday through Sunday. We're here 8 to 5 Friday, Saturday, 1 to 5 on Sundays.
Nice. One thing about coming over here and doing video work this morning, we've got bright sunny morning, and you guys will be amazed how many salvias and full sun perennials are in full bloom that we can't even film this morning because the camera won't necessarily cooperate. This place is on fire, and will be even more in a week and a half. So it's something to put on your list of places. I don't care where you are in the country. This is something to put on your list at some point if you can get to this garden and see it. So you want to finish up with one that you...
Well, yeah, this is a Solomon seal. We grow a lot of Solomon seal, but this one's particularly of interest to us. Number one, it has flowers that smell like the best lemons you can imagine. And so this is actually a species that we found outside of Seoul, Korea. And when we found it, it actually had never been discovered, never been named. And within the next year, it was published as with a name, Polygonatum infundibuliflorum. Terrible name, great plant. But look how wonderful that is to have that fragrance of lemons in your garden, spring flowering. There's just so many great Solomon seals. And when people come out, they'll see so many of the Solomon seals in full flower. So very exciting time for us.
Yeah, definitely. We've got some construction back here in the background. It sounds like you got some sort of Japanese drums going off in the background. So thank you very much, Tony. You're an endless amount of knowledge. I mean, if we probably recorded everything we talked about in one of these walks, it would just blow people's minds. But I learned something every time I come here, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.